What's up, Infected? Welcome to the Quarantine. This is Kickstart Your Week. Now, if you're not familiar with what this is my weekly segment that I cover Kickstarter videos or Kickstarter board games from the previous week that I thought looked interesting. Now, there's no hard, fast criteria of how I do this. It's really what looked interesting to me at the time. Did the thumbnail catch my eye? So on and so forth. I'll go in, look over the page, see if it looked interesting, read a little bit about the game and see what it's about, and then that's kind of where I wind up. And if you like this style of video, check out the Gamerati. I'll have a link down in the description to take you directly over to their site. I've been doing a weekly podcast with them where we each pick one Kickstarter that came out recently that's on Kickstarter, and then we just talk about it, whether we thought it looked cool or whatever. They're really cool guys. It's a really fun thing to do. Check them out as well if you like this style of format. Now, some of these videos that I narrow it down to, well, all of these videos, I narrow it down to 10 games on Kickstarter at most. Sometimes it's less, but I will not go over 10. So each one of the ones I mentioned in this, I definitely recommend checking out at some point. Alright, the first game up on my list is Ancient Aliens. Now this one, I've always been fascinated with the conspiracy of the whole Ancient Aliens. I'm not one of these crazies that thinks it actually happened, but I love the concept. Me being a sci-fi nerd, I really like the idea of it. And this is a game that is that, where you are these ancient aliens, and I guess some high council of the galaxy has stated that you can't, to conquer a planet or something along these lines, you can't directly blow it up or exterminate everybody, but you have to gain their approval, and we do this by trying to bring these people up to speed, I guess, bring the whatever the sentient life is. And so I don't know all of the details, but it follows that kind of path. You can't directly, here's a laser gun, but you can slowly, culture them to your culture. So you're, the Egyptians, you're maybe making the pyramid to where it's some, I don't know, hydrogen collector or whatever. And I thought it looks really crazy, really fun. And the artwork looks pretty decent as well. And overall, I love the concept of having to manipulate early humans as these just super sophisticated alien life forms, but you're limited by how much you're allowed to directly interact with them. And I thought that's really neat. The next game on this list is Root. Now, we talked about this one actually in the Gamerati's podcast, which, if I'm not mistaken, we recorded it a few days ago, so it'll be out next week, somewhere right around there. So definitely check that out. We go a little bit deeper into detail with this one. But it looks really cute. It looks like where the Very Hungry Caterpillar, for example, where that style of art, it looks very reminiscent of that. It's really cute, really pretty artwork, and apparently it's a very asymmetric game where there's different races, and each one of the races that you're playing have a completely different goal. So you're trying to achieve your goal while staying within your race's rule set and trying to stop them from winning. So one player owns the whole forest, the other player has to steal stuff, and it just looks really interesting. From what I understand, the company made a previous game that was similar to this, but it was very, very heavy and so many rules and lots of things to remember, and apparently that was a big complaint. This is basically taking that concept and making it a lot lighter. For people who don't have a wall of games as you see here, and I love that concept because the artwork looks like something my daughter should play. But what I've heard from the previous one, it's a very heavy game, so I don't know if somebody who's not well versed in different types of games would be able to play it. So I love this. I love the artwork, and I love asymmetric games in general. Next up is Kamigami Battles. Now, I have a review for the Kamigami Battles, the base set, which I have sitting right over here, actually, as Kenzume Goddess. And I found out, apparently, I've mispronounced that incorrectly sometimes. Apparently, it's Kenzume Goddess, but regardless, I love the base game. If it wasn't for some imbalances with some of the gods, which I talk about in the review, it would probably be one of my favorite deck builders. It's got a really cool chaining mechanic where this god is this color, but it can chain into these two colors. So the next god you play has to be one of those two colors, or your chain ends and you can't play any more gods or warriors. And it's such a cool concept, and I love it. Now, I will actually be having a review for I think it's the River of Souls expansion. I actually have it sitting right over here. Probably tomorrow is when that review should be up. And it follows the same concept. It's the exact same game, it's just got more stuff. If you like Japanime games, you like anime boobies, which I'm always a fan of anime boobies. Under boob is best boob. Anyways, it's a really fun game. So even if you don't like that style of art, the game is solid. It is a phenomenal deck builder. And then if you like anime boobs, then that is always a plus. And the last game this week is Albedo. Now, I debated whether or not I wanted to add Albedo to the list here because it's a sci-fi deck builder. That right there, those are 2 check marks on my list. The artwork is phenomenal, and that alone, if it would have stayed at that, it would have been a shoe-in, and it would probably have gotten my Kickstarter of the week. But it's got simultaneous action selection, which I'm not really sure how that works in a deck builder. And what kind of leads me, that leads into the next problem is there's not really anything in the video that explains how the game plays. Like, there's a lot of text and stuff that you can read through, and it may go into a little bit more detail, but I kind of scanned it. There's no gameplay videos. Doesn't really go in depth into exactly how the game plays, so I'm a little hesitant on that. But everything else looks really good. The artwork's phenomenal, and then Sci-Fi Deck Builder, sign me up under normal circumstances. So those are my 4 for the week. So if any of these projects looked interesting, check them down in the description. That'll take you directly to their Kickstarter page. It'll provide way more information than I could possibly cover in this video. Now, my Kickstarter of the week, I'm actually going to give to Kamigami Battles. For 2 reasons. One, I've actually played the game. Granted, they're reprinting, they're going to be tweaking some things, fixing a few problems with the game, so I don't know about all that, but I've played the base game, the first edition, and I love it. The second one being, it's a solid deck builder. The deck building is great. I love anime boobies in my game. I like lots of skin, both men and women for that matter. It's got lots of side boob and under boob, which, as we all know, is best boob. And overall, again, it's a very good game, and it fits in a box about this big that I have sitting over on the table. So that is my Kickstarter of the week, is Kamigami Battles. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this show, and I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.